Welcome to episode 3 of Sport Oregon Voices podcast. I'm Jim Etzel, CEO of Sport Oregon. Today, excited to talk about Oregon, the state of sport. It's an economic impact of the athletic team, outdoor and recreation industries. And I'm joined today by Monique Claiborne from Greater Portland, Inc. and Angela Wilhelms from the Oregon Business Council. Angela, let's start with you. You want to just introduce yourself and the role of your organization in our state?
Yeah, sure. So Oregon Business and Industry is the state's largest general business advocacy organization. So we represent all industries, all sectors, every county, all parts of the state, primarily in Salem, whether that's through the legislature, the executive branch, or whatnot, just advocating on behalf of a robust, healthy, thriving economy in Oregon as generated through a healthy private sector.
Great. Monique?
So I'm the president and CEO of Greater Portland, Inc., and we're responsible for one, business attraction, and then two, coordinating the regional strategy. And so we represent the city of Portland, 5 counties in Oregon, and then 2 counties in Southwest Washington.
I want to say it was back in February, myself and Nathan Naiman, our external affairs, we were meeting with Andrew Hone and John Isaac and from Portland Business Alliance, and a lot of different topics, and we started talking about things that we think that we needed to collectively elevate, and one was the industry, and the fact that we're the de facto global leader in apparel and footwear, and we continue to grow this at an incredible rate, but it didn't seem like it was being celebrated. And then, you know, we shared a poster that Prosper Portland did back in 2011. It was kind of like this galactical universe of companies, and around 3 major planets being Nike and Columbia Sportswear and Adidas, and almost 800 companies in this planetary system, if you want to call it that. And it was, Andrew, I remember, and John, the reaction was like, whoa. And it really started to wrap their head around what Nathan and I were talking about. So from that, they went and said, hey, we want to run with this. And so, it was great that they brought together, the sponsors and the partners in putting together a report, led by U.S. Bank, one of PBA's strong members, but also like the Bend Chamber, the Eugene Chamber, Oregon Business Council, Greater Portland, Inc., ORLA, the Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association, Port of Portland, obviously Sport Oregon, Travel Portland, Washington County Chamber, which is home to a lot of these companies, and the Oregon Business and Industry, and of course Portland Business Alliance. So this all came together, a lot of work in a compressed amount of time this spring, and then we rolled it out at the annual meeting. We should call it the bake, because we all got baked outside. It's close to 100 degrees, and I think the 3 of us might have been the most popular people, because we were supposed to do a little panel discussion, and then we waved it off in the interest of refreshments and shade for everybody. So I think we're still in good graces with everybody there. But some of the key takeaways, Oregon is home to 51,000 jobs and 3,100 businesses in the athletic outdoor team and recreation ecosystem, which was, in the study area. And the study area was Portland, Bend, and Eugene. We didn't have the capacity to get bigger than that, but hopefully we can and do the whole state. For every 1 job in the ecosystem, an additional 1.55 jobs are created in the economy, supporting a total of 130,000 jobs, or 9% of jobs in the Greater Portland area. The ecosystem supports $29 billion per year in economic output, including both direct and spin-off economic impacts. Angela, what are your takeaways on these, or your thoughts on these 3 takeaways?
Yeah, well, in some ways they're extraordinary, and in some ways they're not at all surprising. You said it earlier, we've all known for a while that Oregon is the de facto global center of this ecosystem, not just because of the companies that are here, the companies that are starting here and incubating here, but just because of the lifestyle that people here choose to live, what we sort of take for granted sometimes in our natural environment. So in that sense, I think the report really validated what we all knew and quantified it a little bit, which is great. And, as a statewide business organization, we're just really proud of what the state is producing and doing economically in this ecosystem. And so to the numbers in particular, I mean, you also touched on this. This is just a portion of the state. I mean, it's Portland, so the population center, Eugene and Bend, but we didn't even get into the Rogue Valley, the coasts, the Columbia Gorge, Eastern Oregon. And so this is understating Oregon's overall value and impact in this. And so what we hope is that policymakers and others will see these figures, remember that talking about business in the private sector is good, and it's important and necessary for us as a society. And so this is something to invest in the policy space, and we can talk a little bit more about that. But
Yeah, I mean, the excitement that was generated by the report was incredible, and the acknowledgement and understanding of just the enormity of this ecosystem, but also those other parts of the state, Bandon Dunes, home to the best resort, how that's changed the Southern Oregon coast, Hood River with all the outdoor and recreation, but also the products that are coming out of there, those companies there. I mean, we can go on and on, but I think we have a lot of work left to do to kind of complete the story here. What are some of the distinguishing characteristics of the industry in Oregon in your mind?
I think one of the things that for us is really interesting and I think unique in Oregon is the intersectionality of this. So you've got there's a company in Oregon called Looped Works that upcycles plastic materials. They were one of the original upcyclers, but they partner with companies like Alaska Airlines who sponsor the Timbers, and I'm thinking of them just because we're right across from the Timbers home field, and there's these points of connectivity all the way downstream in the cycle of whether it's manufacturing boats or making beer or actually the hospitality and tourism industry. And so the many countless threads that are woven together in this ecosystem here in Oregon, I think is really unique. And it's all, again, it's part of how we value our lifestyle and the quality of life. It's the fact that we attract people who are really into this innovative recreation outdoor space. It's this marriage also between the private sector and our universities. For example, there's some incredible research happening around human health and performance and how that weaves into entertainment through sports teams that are you actually go buy a ticket and watch, how that ties into then the apparel and equipment industry. I think that's one of the things that makes this place so unique and what distinguishes us from other places that maybe have a sporting franchise or a few or a manufacturer or two. We've got all of that woven together in this really intricate, almost impossible to quantify way.
Yeah. Monique, in order to stay on top, we have to invest in this ecosystem. From your perspective, what does that look like?
It looks like just a full-blown, full-court press, right, to keep industry here. And so that's incentives. Right? How are we leveraging and expanding the existing incentives here so jobs can expand within the region? It's invest our universities, right? So we have U of O already has a sports product design program, but what are our universities doing to expand talent, to grow talent into the industry, but then use R&D, right? For the industry is important. Business regulation is important, and the politics and policies that surround that. We want this to be a friendly climate for businesses that are here and for those that are interested into the region. I think it's important. To a certain degree, the real estate community is important as well, and the offerings, amenities and suites that are available given the talent that's attracted to this field, I think is important. And so when all of those folks come together in a will to double down, that's how we invest in the entire ecosystem.